Hi, I'm Ron Paulk, designer of the Paulk Workbench and the Total Station. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple shooter board that can increase your productivity and your accuracy. I have over 150 videos up on my YouTube channel talking about woodworking. And you've probably heard me say on many of those videos, this tool or that tool is one of my favorite tools. Truth be told, I have a lot of great tools that help me be more productive in the specific situation that tool is designed for. But one tool stands head and shoulders above all of the others, and that's the Festool track saw. This is the best investment I have ever made in a tool. It has paid for itself, and if it failed or was stolen, I would replace it immediately. But long before I purchased my first Festool, which was this, I used a shooter board. I have these made up in many different sizes, and so today I'm going to take a few minutes and show you how to make a shooter board. Even if you have the Festool track saw, you may have another skill saw that you use for a specific situation. In this case, I have this cordless tool. I don't have the Festool and cordless, and sometimes I just want to grab this out and make a straight cut. So these shooter boards take scrap from the shop, and literally this can be made in under 10 minutes and it'll last a very long time. You're not actually cutting the board, so you're not wearing it out. But follow along and I'll show you how to easily make one or more of these for yourself. Making a shooter board is quite easy and doesn't take much material. What I have here is a wider piece of 1/4 inch plywood and then a little bit narrower piece of 1/2 inch plywood. Doesn't really matter what the thicknesses are. The thicker the main board is, the more cut depth you give up on your saw. But it's, whether you use 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch, it's not going to matter that much. But obviously when you're using this, you may have an 1 3/8 or 1 3/4 door bottom you want to cut off. So obviously getting as much cut helps. But I found I typically use 1/4 inch if I have it. If I only have 1/2, that's what I'd use. And then for the guide board, I'm using 1/2 inch. Again, this doesn't need to be super thick. This could also be 1/4. The issue with the thickness of the guide board is the motor itself. When you drop the blade in to make the cut, it's going to be riding on top of the main board, and the motor then will come in contact with the guide board, and so you can only drop it down as far as till the motor hits. So that will also reduce how far down you can drop your blade. But I found in most cases and with most saws and with the thickness of material that I'm cross-cutting or ripping with the shooter board, that a combination of 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch work fine. Now, as far as the length goes, you make these as long as you want to make them. Obviously, probably you want to make multiples. And so this one, I've rough cut these two pieces to 41 inches. When I'm all done and have it glued up, I'll cut it to 40 inches. And this is a good size if you are using it to cut off door bottoms. So to determine how wide the main board or the bottom board wants to be is I'll just take the saw, and you can use any skill saw. So I happen to have this Milwaukee 28 volt battery or cordless tool, which is a good one for this kind of project. And so basically all I want to do is set it so that the on the blade side, the cut side, there's some wood sticking to the other side, because when I make this, the final part of making the shooter board will be to actually run the saw down and perfectly cut off that edge to a line. So obviously I don't want it short of the blade, I want it to the blade and a little bit past. So in this case, I'll just put it so that I'm going to take off, a 1/4 inch or 1/8 or something like that, and make a little mark where the foot of the saw, and again, this is going to vary from saw to saw, but so where the foot of the saw is going to ride against the guide board. So I make that mark. And then the second mark I make is where the motor will extend to. So in this case, so I've got the mark where the base of the saw is, and I've got a mark where the edge of the motor is. And that's because I want to go past the edge of the motor by about 2 inches because I want room to put a clamp on. If I made it right, to where the motor is, then if I've dropped all the way in, then I can't clamp there because the motor would bump into the clamp. So again, I've got a mark where the base of the saw is, or the foot of the saw, and then I've got a mark where the edge of the motor goes to, and I've gone 2 inches past that. So for this particular saw, this overall piece is just under 10 inches. And then the guide board will go from where the saw meat will ride on it, and then all the way flush to the outside edge. And in this case, it's about 5 1/4 inches. So all I need to do is glue up these two pieces and flush the outside edge. When I'm all done and got this all put together, I'll recut the ends on the miter saw. I'll rip this side, just a real thin rip, just to smooth it out, and I'll make the final cut with the saw to perfectly index that edge. So I'll use wood glue to hold it long term, and I'll use staples as a permanent clamp to hold it in place until the glue dries. So now that it's all glued up, I'll go ahead and make this final cut, which will just index the edge of the shooter board right to the blade. So now the shooter board is ready to use. So whatever material you're going to cut, just make your marks. It doesn't matter if you're cutting an absolute length and measuring from the other end, or whether you need an angle cut. Just make a mark on each side of your board. You place your shooter board right on your marks. You don't have to do any kind of offset or any kind of calculations. In this case, I'm at a little bit of an angle. I measured 3/4 and 5/8. And then clamp your board on. So hopefully this tip on making a shooter board will help you be more productive and more accurate and improve your work quality. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, like these videos, and share them with others. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Have a great day.